Tacitus, the Druids' last stand. Therefore, Suetonius prepared to attack the island of Anglesey, which was well supplied with inhabitants and a refuge for deserters. The foot soldiers crossed by boats. The cavalry followed in the shallow waters, or swam alongside their horses. A hostile battle line stood on the shore, packed with men and arms, with women running amongst them, who were dressed in black, in the manner of the Furies, holding torches before them, and with their hair dishevelled. The Druids were all around, pouring out dreadful prayers, with their hands raised up to the sky. They overawed the soldiers, so that with their limbs seemingly paralysed, they exposed their immobile bodies to wounds. Then, with their leader encouraging them, and whilst they urged each other on, so that they would not fear a womanly and raving mad force, they carried in their standards, and cut down those in the way, and enveloped them with their own fires. After that, a garrison was placed over the conquered, and the sacred groves for savage rites were cut down, for the Druids believed it was right to make offerings on altars with captives' blood, and to consult the gods through the entrails of men. Boudica's rebellion. Prasutagus, king of the Iceni, long famous for his riches, had made the emperor heir along with his 2 daughters by such submissiveness. He thought that both his household and his kingdom would be safe from injustice. The thing turned out to be just the opposite, to the extent that the kingdom was plundered by centurions, and his house by slaves, as if they were captured. To begin with, his wife was beaten and his daughters were violated by rape. All the chiefs of the Iceni were deprived of their ancestral possessions, as if the Romans had received the whole region as a gift, and the relatives of the king were treated like slaves. Alarmed by this humiliation, and by the fear of more serious things, because they had been reduced to the status of a province, they took up arms. The Trinobantes, and others who were not yet broken by slavery, were moved to rebellion. They had pledged themselves in secret conspiracies to take back their freedom. Their hatred was fiercest amongst the veterans, who, recently settled in the colony settlement of Caledonium, were driving the Trinobantes from their homes, and from their lands, and they were calling them either captives or slaves. The soldiers were encouraging the arrogance and the slavery of the veterans by the similarity of their lifestyle, and with the hope of the same freedom to misbehave. Moreover, a temple built to honour the divine Claudius was regarded as a focal point of eternal domination, and elected priests, under the pretense of religious beliefs, were pouring out all their wealth. Nor did it seem difficult to destroy the veteran settlement, as it was protected by no fortifications, which was considered too little by our leaders, since they had prioritized an attractive appearance over use. Now the 14th Legion, with detachments of the 20th, and auxiliaries from the neighbouring areas, almost 10,000 armoured men, were under Suetonius, and he prepared them to hurry and to come together in a battle line. And he chose a location which was closed off, with narrow entrances, and with the woods at the back, for he knew there was no enemy except in front, and there was an open plain without fear of ambush. Therefore his legionaries were drawn up in dense rows, with the light troops round them. The cavalry stood massed together in front of the wings. Yet the forces of the Britons were rushing about wildly everywhere, amongst their troops of soldiers and cavalry, a greater crowd than at any other time, and so fierce in its spirit that they had also brought their wives as witnesses to the victory. They put them on wagons which they had placed on the very edges of the plain. At first, the legion was motionless in its position, and defended by the narrowness of its location. After it had used up its spears with accurate aim at the approaching enemy, it charged in a wedge-like formation. The auxiliaries also made an attack, and the cavalry with outstretched spears broke through anyone who was strong and in their path. The rest turned their backs and escaped with difficulty, because the surrounding wagons had closed off the escape route. And the soldiers did not even spare the women, or even the baggage animals, pierced by spears, swelled the heap of bodies. On that day our soldiers gained famous glory, equal to our old victories. Indeed, there are those who recount that a little less than 80,000 Britons died, whereas almost 400 soldiers were killed, and not many more were wounded. Boudica ended her life with poison.